everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cover 4 podcast. As the week after championship games, and Mr. Randy Gibson, we got a lot to talk about here.
Oh man, do we ever talk about the year before the 12-team playoff goes in contention? And of course, we've got a huge controversy to discuss.
Well, I believe they got it right. I know because Florida State, I don't think the committee wanted to have them in there and wind up being a sacrificial lamb, similar to what happened with TCU in the championship game last year.
That's exactly why I think the committee did what they did. And you say they got it right. I kind of, as bad as it pains me as a Sooner who wears crimson colored glasses, has to say, I think they probably got it right to keep that last year's scenario from happening all over again.
Yeah. And I think, you put Florida State at 4 playing Michigan, I think it would have been a bloodbath.
It would have.
Out in Pasadena.
It would have. It would have totally been a bloodbath. And I know they don't like to hear it, but the truth of the matter is, let's face it, last year was an embarrassment for the playoff committee.
Correct.
And
yes.
I think that they just didn't want to make that same mistake again.
No, I don't think they did either. There's going to be some great ball games. I mean,
they are.
I mean,
those
those
4 are going to be fantastic.
Yeah, not only the 4, the 2 bowl games, the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, but the others as well are going to be good. They put Georgia against Florida State in the Orange Bowl. I think Florida State will find out real quick, with either their second or their third string quarterback, they're going to be going into that thing to a gunfight with a cap gun.
I totally agree. I mean, I know they say one player doesn't make the team, but man, whenever you lose your starting quarterback, we saw that happen to Oklahoma at Texas last year.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it over different times when the starting quarterback's out. Very few times have you got somebody like, who can come in and cover, for a Colt McCoy or, a Troy Aikman, a Jamel Holloway on the roster that can cover for a Troy Aikman or something like that. That doesn't happen very often.
Or go way back, Jack Mildren, Steve Davis.
Steve Davis, yeah, exactly.
There was, and OU's had some good quarterbacks back in the day. Like I say, Mildren, Davis, a guy who I played basketball against, one Julius Caesar Watts.
Yep. Back then, it was just kind of a thing where someone took the helm, they took the reins maybe their junior year, but they developed over their freshman and sophomore year. They were started their junior and senior year, and then they had somebody 2 years behind them. That was kind of the tradition throughout all of the major colleges. But in today's world, it's like the freshmen want to come in and start, and if they don't, they bail after a year. It's really hard to hang on to them more than a year or two and let them grow and develop.
Yeah, it really is. Not only it's gotten that way at the D1 level. You don't see that at the D2 level per se, where we're at with Northeastern. But it'll be it's going to be some interesting bowl games, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking, the semifinals. This, according to Oaklawn Sportsbook down at the racetrack in Hot Springs, which Arkansas has sports gaming down there right now. The game between Alabama and Michigan. Uh, Alabama, a 1.5 point dog against Michigan at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
Texas is a 4 point favorite against
Hmm.
Washington. I
Hmm.
like that one.
I do
Uh,
too.
and they don't have to make that short of a trip from Austin to New Orleans.
No, not at all. And I know you and I discussed this just a little bit off the air, but I I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I would not be surprised if either number 3 or number 4 or both 3 and 4 are going to be in that national championship game.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's 3 and 4.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
And
Would not surprise me one bit.
that would be a great ball game at NRG Stadium in Houston.
Hmm.
Uh, just before they roll that turf up and start putting the dirt down, because that's where they hold Rodeo Houston for 3 solid weeks.
Wow. Well, the fact that Texas is the is the lone loss for Alabama. I
Yes.
mean, if I was an Alabama fan, what more could I ask for than to play
Oh, yeah.
Texas in the national championship game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And just the history with Sark and Saban,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, coming from Saban's tree there, and he's already proven that he's going to put Texas back. As a Sooner fan, we have mocked and made fun of Texas for a decade, talking about Texas is back, Texas is back. Well, I have to admit, as painful as it is for me to say this, I think Texas is back.
Yeah. And look, behind Quinn Ewers, some kid by the name of Arch Manning just
Hmm.
waiting in the wings. And I think he's just going to wait his turn.
You think he'll wait? I was hearing rumblings that he wanted to go into the portal.
I There's several people that would say don't do it.
Hmm.
His dad, A, B, his two uncles, just happen to be
Hmm.
Peyton and Eli, and Grandpa Archie.
Hmm.
Uh,
I hope he listens
they
to him.
he will, he will. There's no doubt in my mind that he will. Uh, Take a look at your Sooners. They get
Oh,
Arizona Wildcats in San Antonio in the Alamo Bowl, and then all of a sudden, yesterday, the announcement comes out about 9 o'clock our time that Dylan Gabriel is jumping ship, and uh, I wouldn't be surprised to see him wearing maroon and white and being down in Starkville, Mississippi with Jeff Levy.
you know that one. That one was almost like kind of a stab for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, very, very thrilled for Dylan. He came in at a point because, he was pretty much on a plane to UCLA and decided to change his flight plans and land in Oklahoma City and drive down to Norman instead. Um, so he has been a lifesaver for the Sooners the past couple of years. Fantastic this year. He should have been in the Heisman talk, and he was for a couple of weeks there after the Texas game.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas and OSU games didn't do him any good,
No.
and he kind of dropped out after that. But his stats are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He holds one record, I think, and he's like behind names like Mayfield and Murray
Right.
and Hurts. So he's up there in stat wise with those guys. He did announce he was going into the portal. I have seen mixed reactions on from the Sooner Nation about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everybody, which is him the best, said he's a class act. I have heard nobody dogging for it,
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not, which is surprising to me. Um, I think he was in a situation where the Sooners always realized this was going to be Gabriel's last year.
Mhm.
And with Jackson Arnold, the really good freshman that's coming up, um, I think Gabriel realized there was a lot of danger back and forth. First of all, I think he originally wanted to go into the NFL draft, but the draft has a lot of quarterbacks this year.
There's a bunch of quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, and I don't think he would have been up there in the top tier necessarily in the draft. So with NIL, again, with the between the portal and NIL, I think he sees that he can make a lot of money going back and playing college one more year, progressing a little bit more, and then maybe next year going high in the draft.
Yes.
But at the same time, everybody was like, well, if Gabriel comes back, what's going to happen to Jackson Arnold? Is he going to leave? Is he going to go with Levy down to
Mhm.
Mississippi State? And we've reached that critical point to where Jackson Arnold could be our future.
Yeah.
And so I think Gabriel willingly handed the reins over to Jackson Arnold at this point. And I've seen some from Norman saying, in a strange sort of way, what Gabriel did was a favor to Jackson Arnold
Mhm.
because it's going to give him these extra practices with the two new offensive coordinators to
Yes.
be able to work. And that can start building the foundation for next year since they're not going to a playoff game.
Right.
And a lot of people kind of feel like that was really a classy move on
Mhm.
Dylan Gabriel's. And I want to think that. It
Mhm.
still hurts though, knowing that Gabriel is not going to be the starting quarterback against Arizona. Arizona's a good team, and Sooners are going to have their work cut out for them, and especially now because it's not just Gabriel. Sooners got hit hard yesterday. They lost almost half their team yesterday into the portal. Now, not all of them were starters, of course,
Right.
but they lost Savion Bird, who was the starting left guard at the first of the season. They lost another former lineman, Marcus Hicks. He's going to South Dakota State. Um,
That's one
they,
double A.
yeah, it's just which was kind of strange. Another interior offensive lineman who was a backup, Nate Anderson, who's played off and on and rotated through. He's gone. Uh, One of my favorite running backs that they had this past year, Tyree Walker, who was a walk-on, who absolutely shredded third and fourth quarters. And when you needed that third and three, third and two, he was the
Mhm.
go-to guy every time. He entered the portal. Marcus Major entered the portal. Another reserve running back, Smothers, entered the portal. Uh, Another one that really hurt was a really good safety that was looking to be an up and coming for the Sooners, Key Lawrence, in the portal. Reggie Grimes, another defensive player who played off and on in the rotation over the past few years, entered the portal. So the Sooners lost about 7 or 8 guys right off the bat.
I saw just before we went on 10 in the portal just from OU. Arkansas got hit with 11. Uh,
Yeah.
there's, I think the most was Vanderbilt with 16. The least, I'll let you take a wild guess how many and who it was.
From Arkansas.
No, I'm talking about which team didn't get hit.
Oh, I'm sure it was the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Washingtons, the Texas.
No, this was just SEC.
Oh, just SEC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this came from Saturday down south. Uh, Nick does not have anybody in the portal right now.
I'm sure.
Zero.
I'm
Uh,
sure. I'm
Georgia
sure.
had five, I think.
Oh, did they have that many? I'm surprised. Another one that really shocked me was McCord from Ohio State.
That really did surprise me too, especially after they got beat by Michigan. Uh,
Yeah,
that he didn't stick around. Something's fishy in
yeah,
Columbus.
yeah,
And how many, you know, they're, Ryan Day's catching hell up there. for losing 3 times in a row to Harbaugh in Michigan. And they, you think the hatred of Auburn and Alabama and Texas and OU is bad? It's really bad up there. And
Yeah.
all I got to do is go out to the golf course and you talk to Jim Madison, who's a big Buckeye guy, and you find out real quick there is absolutely no love lost between Ohio State and, as they call them, the team up north. They'll call them Michigan State, but when it comes to Michigan, no, they
Yeah.
won't even say the word Michigan.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, yeah, that one, the McCord move really, really shot me by surprise.
mhm,
That one was more of a surprise to me, honestly, than Dylan Gabriel's.
mhm. Well, the Sooners are 3-point dogs against the Wildcats.
Did that change? I thought they were.
That was just as of a little while ago. In fact, I'll look at it right now. That is the current odds right now, +3.
Originally, I thought they were 1.5 favorites.
Yeah, well, it dropped when Gabriel left. I mean, they went from probably 1.5 favorites to now they're 3-point dogs.
That doesn't
And
surprise me.
then over and under is 63. So
Okay.
then Oklahoma State is a 3.5 point dog against A&M with a different with an interim head coach because
That's, yeah,
and their quarterback
probably pretty close.
also went in the portal as well, but I don't think he was starting. So
Hmm.
and they were in the boat that Mississippi State was in. I mean, they fired a coach. Everybody on the team could enter the portal, so for 30 days. So
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see what happens in Houston when
It
Oklahoma
will.
State takes on A&M,
Yeah.
and that's down at NRG Stadium. That's also the home of the Houston Texans, the NFL team down there in Houston. So, and that's a big stadium. I've flown over it. That is a nice place, and they got a roof as well, so it's good.
Be good.
Arkansas, well, they've been taking a hit. They lost defensive lineman Chris Pooh Paul. They've lost 2 running backs. Lost AJ Green, and now just before we went on, Rocket Sanders, he has put himself into the portal.
Has he really? I didn't see that before we
That
went on. Wow.
that just came up here in the last 20 minutes or so. So now the running back room is Rashawn Dubinion and the Augusta kid that came on these last 2 ball games, who looks really good. And those 2 can be the foundation for Bobby Petrino getting the running backs. They're hitting the portal hard along with the recruiting. They've also hired a new offensive line coach because their offensive line coach, I don't think he was going to get retained, but he is now with Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, and
I saw that today.
they're bringing in Eric Matos, the offensive line coach at Baylor. He is coming back to the University of Arkansas to be the offensive line coach. Reason why I say he's coming back, he was graduate assistant there at
Mm.
U of A from 2013 to 2015 under then Razorback head coach and now the head coach of the Illini of Illinois, Brett Bielema. So he will be coming in. Also, Arkansas lost their kicker, Cam Little, not to the portal. He's going in the NFL draft.
Oh, wow.
So here's the thing I forgot about with him. He played his high school ball at Southmore.
Oh, really?
He's a guy. He's from Moore, and he did not miss an extra point attempt in 3 years at Arkansas. And this year he hits 4 out of 5 from 50 plus.
Wow.
So, I mean, I remember listening to the game against Florida and listening to Florida announcers, and he hit one from 50, and they said, this guy's got a howitzer for a leg, and he does. So I look for Cam Little to be a third, maybe even a fourth round pick in the NFL draft, because he's going to show people that he can kick the football. And he was first team kickoff specialist in the all SEC team. So,
wow.
And the kicker, reason why he didn't get place kicker is the guy who kicks for Alabama, Will Reichert. And he's the new NCAA point leader. He set that in the game Saturday against Georgia. I think either with a field goal or an extra point, one of the two. So that's reason why he was there. And Max Fletcher, the punter, he's second team punter for the Razorbacks. And Landon Sanders, Landon Fletcher, the linebacker for Arkansas, he was first team all SEC.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's happened around college football. Like I say, the bowl games are out. What about Louisville, USC, and no Caleb Williams?
Yeah. That one really didn't surprise me either.
That didn't surprise me at all either, that he would bypass it. And I think he'll put in for the draft, and he'll be.
I do too. That's what I expect.
He's a number one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's done at USC. He's had a very disappointing 2 years out there since he left Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been interesting to have seen if he would have stayed at Oklahoma under Jeff Levy.
Yeah.
But that's something that we'll have to always just kind of contemplate and think about, but we'll never know for sure.
Looking at some of the other bowl games, KU against UNLV, that'll be an interesting bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
UNLV, coached by Barry Odom, used to be a head coach at Missouri, and now out at UNLV was the defense coordinator at Arkansas before he went there this year. Let's see, I got another one. Oregon State and Notre Dame.
That one's going to be interesting.
Yeah. There was a lot of talk of before Georgia got beat, by Alabama, that there was a possibility of a matchup of Notre Dame and LSU. And you think for this for a second. Where did Brian Kelly come from?
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame to Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that would have been interesting. This will be a very interesting game. Missouri and Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, that one's going to be a very, very interesting game.
And it's right at straight up. Ohio State is a 1-point dog. So you might as well say that game's even.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that surprise you that Ohio State's a 1-point underdog?
To an extent, yeah. Because I'm still really not that high on Mizzou. even though I
I'm
saw them beat Arkansas.
I know.
You know,
They're,
it's a
they're
typical Missouri ball club.
yeah, they'll beat somebody big name and then they'll lose. It's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
to an extent what BYU has a history of doing.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Ole Miss and Penn State.
That one's going to be a very interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of secretly, I was kind of hoping Oklahoma would draw Penn State as an opponent.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll go band wise. The battle of the drum majors.
Mm-hmm.
The way the OU drum major struts out, and then
Mm-hmm.
the Penn State uh, drum major sprints out, does a forward flip, and does the splits.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind
Not
of
only
fun.
at the 50-yard line, but then runs back to the goal line, does it again, and then the Lion hands him his baton.
I can remember, you know, that would have been a rematch of the January 1st, 1986 for the 1985 season Orange Bowl
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
national championship game.
Yep.
We, of course, I was in the OU band back then, and we did a couple of things with the Penn State band. Back, I mean, that was 30 years ago, but they were a great group of people.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, Georgia gets Florida State. We've already touched on that.
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin gets LSU. That will
Be
be.
interesting.
Uh, can you say low scoring affair?
Yeah,
This one, Tennessee against Iowa.
that's going to be an interesting one too.
Yeah, like I say, could be extremely low scoring. The over and under is 35 and a half.
Hmm.
Now, the game that could be the track meet, Liberty gets in and they get Oregon.
Yeah, that one. So Liberty won their conference
Right.
undefeated.
Yep. Their strength of
Get
schedule was horrible.
terrible.
But
Get
they would have been in the 12-team playoff. This would have been the 5-12. Well, no, it would have been it'd been Liberty and Florida State
yeah,
in the in a 5-12
yeah.
matchup.
It huh, that one. If you would have told me that Oregon at the first of the season, if you would have told me Oregon was going to play Liberty in their bowl game, I would have I would have took the odds on that one and bet against it because that just doesn't seem like a matchup to me.
But now we're going to find out, are they legit? They could be,
Hmm.
it could be like OU and Boise State.
Could be. Very
Uh,
well could be.
but Bo Nix will play, that will be his last game.
Saw that today. He's going to play.
And I think he's got a point to prove, I think.
Yeah,
He did
I think
not
so too.
have that great of a game in round 2 against Washington
No,
Friday night. So that will be his swan song. He's a great quarterback, and he'll be him, Williams, Penix. Uh, I would assume Jalen Daniels from LSU will go. Uh, that's the main reason why um,
that's
Gabriel
why
decided
Gabriel.
not to go in the NFL and go
Yeah,
one more year. And
yeah.
he saw I think he saw the handwriting on the wall as far as NFL was concerned. He'd probably been a second or third round pick.
Probably so. Going back to Gabriel, hearing rumors from North. Of course, everybody thinks he's going to go with Libby down to Mississippi State,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably what's going to happen. Originally, I thought he was going to go to Hawaii because he said he wanted to play there anyway. And but now I'm hearing that he may get a top dollar deal from Ohio State.
Yeah, that may be possible. You know, the thing with Hawaii is when they play home games, they don't have Aloha Stadium anymore. That thing was condemned by the state of Hawaii, and they play their games. It's on campus, and they're lucky if they have 20,000 people that can see the ball games. I mean, it's a makeshift stadium out there. Friend of mine, Bill Powers, who used to be sports information director at Texas A&M Commerce and Midwestern, and retired from Hawaii Pacific. He was their second in command out there. He helps UH with their stat crew when they have a home game out there. So they lose money when they play a game at home, but then they probably get quite a bit whenever they come stateside to play a game. So they probably get a nice guarantee when they do come over here and play games here in the 48 states. So, football, that's pretty much got everything covered right now. High school basketball started up last week, and believe it or not, this is the first of the 3 tournament weeks here in Oklahoma, and we've got 2 tournaments going on here in town. Sequoia, they're hosting their tournament. This is the second year they've had their high school tournament out at the Sequoia Center. They the Lady Indians play at 4, and they take on a team from Arkansas with a unique nickname. The Alma Airedales are coming over to play in this tournament. Both the boys and the girls will play. I did a game for them before COVID. It was broadcast on one of the Fort Smith radio group stations and also on the internet. So you might check around and go to Alma Airedale's website, and you might be able to see both the boys and the girls games Thursday afternoon. They play girls at 4 and the boys at 5:30.
That would be interesting. I would love to be able to watch a game in the place where they play again.
Yeah. The boys, on the other hand, for Sequoia, they're not playing Alma. They're playing their old rival from Anadarko, Riverside, at 5:30. Also, 2 other Native American teams are making the trip to Tahlequah, Choctaw, Mississippi, and Cherokee, North Carolina. They're going to play out there. In fact, they're going to play each other. In the first round.
That'll be interesting to see the game between Sequoia and Cherokee, North Carolina.
That would be interesting. That would really be interesting. If that happened, I think they play that on Friday, I think. I didn't make a copy of the bracket, but if you get a chance, want to see some small school basketball, you can head out there. Or if you want to see the big schools, well, head on up to the TMAC, Tahlequah hosting their tournament Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The Tigers, Lady Tigers, they take on Enid at 7. The boys, they see the Jinx Trojans at 8. Minus Clay Martin. Clay no longer the head basketball coach of the Trojans because he is kind of busy wearing a white hat in the National Football League. He's a referee in the NFL now. So he is no longer coaching. He's still in athletic administration at Jinx. but now has to devote more time to being a referee in the NFL. So
Mhm.
uh, the other teams, Keys, they're playing tonight at home as we tape this. This is their opener. They take on Hilldale. Then they travel to Shakota Thursday night to take on the Wildcats. Then next week, they host Westville Tuesday night. And then Thursday night, close out the 2023 portion of the schedule. Battle of Cherokee County, Keys and Sequoia out at the Cougar Fieldhouse.
Always a good one.
And a full house guaranteed
Yeah,
out there
for
when
sure.
those two meet. And then Hulbert, they are taking on my old alma mater. They're taking on Warner tonight.
Hey.
And they're home Thursday night, and they take on the Porter Pirates. They're the boys are 2-1 right now. I didn't see what the girls were right now. So that's over at Hulbert this week. Take a look at NSU. Well, they've opened up the MIAA season. The guys have lost a pair. They lost 65-43 to Fort Hays Thursday night, and then Saturday afternoon uh, got beat 85-82 by the Lopers of Nebraska Kearney. Whereas the girls, the Lady Reds, they lost Thursday night to Fort Hays, but then came back and defeated the defending MIAA champions, the Lopers. They beat them 74-71. It was uh, career win number 200 for the new head coach up there at Northeastern. And so they got that win. And Hallie Jones, because of her 25-point performance and 39 in 2 games, she was named the MIAA's Player of the Week.
Oh, was he really? That's fantastic.
She got that. So she has got that award from the MIAA on Monday. They came out with that um, Monday afternoon, and so they got a award winner already this year as far as a MIAA win. As far as they're 1-1, and like I say, that was Keith Ferguson's 200th career win as a head coach. So they'll head up to Emporia on Saturday. They're not playing any games during the week this week, so that tells me it's finals week up at Northeastern. So they'll play Saturday up there. In fact, they are not home until after Christmas. They will be home. Well, they got to go on the road for 2 conference games next week. They will make the short drive over to Claremore, take on the Hillcats of Rogers State Wednesday night at the Expo Center. It's a barn. I mean, literally, it is a barn there at the fairgrounds there at Rogers State, but they have converted it into a basketball arena, and everybody has chairback seats. The
Oh,
chairs
wow.
that the players sit in, the padded
Wow.
seats, although it's a kind of a horseshoe. Well, really not a horseshoe. They've got seats behind the goals, then 2 on each side. And I've called games there at the Expo Center. It's a good place to do the games. They got a four-way scoreboard up top, plus the shot clock, game clocks on the back of the backboards. So it's a good facility because Roger State doesn't have a good arena right now to play games in, and they need something where they could possibly host a central regional if need be. They could play there. If they wanted to do a true neutral site, they could go up to Union to their activity center there, and they'd have a little advantage because of pulling strings. Justin Barkley's wife just happens to be the athletic director at Union. So,
well, that kind of comes in handy, doesn't it?
it does come in handy, and I will tell Clyde, as I call Justin. I call him Clyde because of his dad, who played basketball here at Northeastern, the longtime head coach at Inola, still head coach at Inola. But they play at Rogers State Wednesday of next week. Then they got to go to Topeka and take on Washburn, and that'll be the last game before the holidays. That'll be on the 19th. In fact, they're just going to do one game on the 13th, and then the 19th, as I lost it there. Yeah. Go Wednesday night, then they go a Tuesday night at Washburn to close out the 23 portion of the season, and then come back home on Thursday, January the 4th. They take on the Bearcats of Northwest Missouri, and then the Saturday game will be against Missouri Western. So that's what the Redmen and the Lady Reds have in store for the next 5 ball games. They got the girls have got a non-conference game on the 30th with there's a church school over at Springdale that comes over and plays. So they'll play them. They're an NAIA school, and they'll play them on the 30th. So that's a 1:30 ball game. So it'll be 1:30 and 3:30 up there at the event center. I think we pretty much got everything covered this week.
Yeah, it's kind of hit that time of the year where everybody's focusing on finals and Christmas break. So
Yeah.
little bit quiet right now.
Yeah, very quiet. We'll see what happens with the high schools this week, and then get to next week, and then we'll have to probably shut it down for a couple of weeks because of Christmas and New Year's for all of us.
Yep, true. We'll get through Christmas, and then we'll hit bowl week. So
yeah, that would be a good time, right after Christmas. Do that, right after Christmas, and you get to see what grandkid won, what he gets. And I know you've sent him something. We talked about that off the air last week, and he'll be see what he got from you, what he gets from everybody else.
Yep.
Too bad you are going to be stuck out in Provo.
I know. We've gotten a lot of snow. People have started skiing out here.
Now, how are what's the base right now at some of the places out there?
Up at Sundance, which is just about 15 minutes from my house, it's sitting at 29 inches already. Got a good snow a couple of weeks ago. And it's been kind of warm, though. It was in the low 50s this afternoon. So
That's odd.
my had a niece come in from Florida. She went skiing yesterday, in fact, and said that in the morning it was okay. It was kind of ice, but by the afternoon it was starting to get kind of slushy up there. Sundance. I haven't heard about Park City or Snowbird or any of the other ones yet.
Yeah.
But I will say Timpanogos, which is one of the biggest mountains where the resorts are, it's got a lot of snow on it already. It's the highest one in the area, so got a lot of snow on it. It's looking pretty good so far.
So far, so good right now.
So far, so good.
Yeah. Will you make an appearance up there, or you stay in the stay right in the heart of Provo and be safe and don't have to have a broken leg?
Mostly, I stay safe down in the valley and stay in the heart of Provo. I do like to go up to Sundance. I'm going to try to maybe get up there and do some sort of skiing or snowmobiling at some point this winter.
Okay. Well, the snowmobile might be better, might be safer than the.
That's at my age, that's a little bit more safe for me,
Yes, you and me
honestly.
both. All right. Well, next week we'll talk basketball and might even talk a little bit about college baseball. I jumped off last week and I bought the NCAA rule book mainly because may get some games over at Arkansas, both baseball and softball, but I might have an opportunity. I don't know yet, but I might be able to get the headset back on.
That would be fantastic.
And
I would love to see you wearing that headset again.
maybe doing some baseball.
I I have to admit, I kind of enjoyed the Jim Trickett high octane football and basketball
You know,
reports.
also, like we were talking on the phone when we set up the Zoom call here, uh, may have to make a little trek up to the TMAC, the guys who do the games for the Tigers. We've talked about it. Might be talk to go to Matt Cloud, say, hey, would you like for me to do a ball game and kind of show them how it's supposed to be done?
Yeah.
Not only in
I,
basketball, but football as well. That would be, the only thing is making that 57 row walk up to the top of the press box at Northeast. Oh, I used to
yeah.
do that all the time, but boy, anymore, I don't know if I could do that or not.
Well, I'll tell you, if they upgrade that facility, I hope they put an elevator up to that thing next time.
That will be a number one because if they tear that thing down, they've got to do that to ADA specs.
Hmm.
That's
That's what I
what.
was thinking.
Yeah, I would not mind doing the spotter boards again. And this was, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah.
There is the spotter board from my buddy down in Texas.
Yep.
That is the Arkansas one from 2 years ago.
Arkansas. Hmm.
And then the there's the Texas one.
Yep.
And what Andy does, his son does it on a program called Open Office. And it's a draw program. And he does it where Arkansas was the home team. So he does it where Arkansas is in dark color. And then Texas was the visiting team in white. So that's how
Oh,
he does that. That's how
a good
he
idea.
color codes it. Whereas I color code it, in white. I don't do that. I can't get that elaborate with mine. But I have redrawn my spotter boards, taken some of Craig's and Andy's stuff and incorporated it into mine. And hopefully next year I can, I'd like to do Tahlequah and do it with the revamped spotter board.
That would be kind of fun. Hopefully, I could get out there and be a game and can come and be your spotter for a game.
Yeah. Well, I never had a spotter.
No,
And all
you
the
didn't. You
time that I
always
did the ball games, I was
you were
uh,
everything. You were
I was the
play-by-play color.
play-by-play man. I was the color man. I was the stat man,
That
the spotter, and the producer engineer on site.
I was going to say. Not only that, you were the engineer as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah.
You kind of were a one-man band up there.
Oh, I was that. You never did see me when you were the one of the communications people out there at the nation. You never
Mm-mm.
did drop into the press box and see what.
No, I should have. I wish I would
Yeah,
have.
you should have. When I was doing that, you would have like, "Oh my gosh, how are you doing this?" Uh, but anyway, maybe I can if I'm not doing a game and Compass is needing somebody, do like we did for the West Virginia game a few years ago. Make
Hmm.
that spotter board, and then I do the stats. So
Yep.
anyway, well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Cover 4 podcast. Like I say, next week we'll touch on high school basketball and look and see how the Redmen and the Lady Reds did up at Emporia in their third game of the MIAA season. And for my partner back out in Provo, Utah, Randy Gibson, I'm Jim Trickett. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next week. So long, everybody.